Welcome back to Bleav in Softball. I'm your host, Jenna, and however you got here today, whether you downloaded the audio version on Apple, Spotify, etc., or you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Subscribe and rate the show wherever you get your pods too. Follow us on Instagram and X at Bleav in Softball. That's BLEAV. And don't forget, there's merch. Click the link in our bio on either page or go to shop.bleav.com to purchase. 3 different shirts available for you there. All right, let's go through today's batting order. First, we'll be covering our bases. I'll share some call-outs. And then we'll head into today's interview with Kenny Gajewski. Kenny is a G. We know he's taken the Cowgirls to 5 straight Women's College World Series, but also he has a really cool background that we're going to dig into. And then we'll bring it home and wrap up with some final thoughts. All right, let's go. Covering our bases. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from NBA and college basketball to the NHL and UFC, BetOnline continues to be your number one sports betting source. From every three-pointer to hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. And the season starts here. Opening weekend is officially in the books. And to share just a bit of my experience, I actually got to be in Stanford Stadium calling games. It's the home of Stanford football. They're subletting it to the softball program while their stadium, Boyd and Jill Smith Family Stadium, gets a multi-million-dollar renovation. And I actually got to be there on Super Bowl Sunday for the weekend finale. So that just felt right, especially as somebody who never missed a home football game when I was a student. That place felt at home too, just like Boyd and Jill Smith did. So I didn't even realize at first that the stadium has also hosted a ton of different events. Actually hosted the Super Bowl in 1985, Men's and Women's World Cup and Olympic soccer, lacrosse, international track and field, and now softball. So pretty cool. They're also going to host a Coldplay concert later this spring. So just so versatile. And I actually got to go down on the actual field. And it was just built in the few months between football and softball season. But the quality is solid. The players have said that it feels good. And I'm just excited for this very, very unique experience. And what about a double investment to be building the stadium that your softball team will play in long term, but then also go ahead and build this as well in a really cool venue so that they can stay on campus this season. It's a good sign for our sport. I also love all of the firsts in opening weekend. It's the first of the season for everybody, but I in particular got to be on the call for some of these things, and I take that with a lot of pride. You know, for example, freshman Joey Economitis, she got her first start, her first home run, her first hit, all of those things. And then another freshman, Sydney Bleav, had a walk-off 2-run home run to end the weekend on Super Bowl Sunday with a run rule. And Coach Alistair actually had to tell the team, hey, scoot back, give her room so she can touch home plate because they were so excited for her. So just experiencing those first. And then even freshman Zoe Pristiko got her first start in the circle. She threw a complete game for the win. She let some nerves out. That is all the first step in everybody's careers when you look at it like that. And the parents and families of the seniors were there too. It was the last first weekend. And so getting to see the families of some of these players experience that as well is special. So these are just the type of moments that are my favorite. It's one of the best, one of the most rewarding, and one of the most valuable parts, in my opinion, of my job as a broadcaster. But also D1 Softball, the podcast. A new episode is out this week with my co-host Amanda Lorenz. We interview Florida freshman outfielder Taylor Shoemaker after multiple National Player of the Week honors, including D1 Softballs. So just check it out. We break down a ton of stuff from the opening weekend as well. You can find it on D1 Softball's YouTube or whatever audio platform you get your pods. Coming up, I will be going to Clearwater for the second year in a row with D1 Softball this weekend to be doing some on-site coverage of the tournament. I'm thrilled. I'm super excited. Last year, half the weekend was rained out, unfortunately, and while there was still a lot of softball, still saw a lot of great stuff, we didn't get as much as we wanted and that we were planning on getting. So fingers crossed that all goes well on that front, and just some fun stuff coming for you. So if you're not yet Be sure to follow D1 Softball on X, Instagram, and all the socials to stay in the know. You can, of course, also watch the games on the ESPN networks this weekend. Friend of the show, Michelle Smith, will be on the call, among others, and she actually helped spearhead the creation of this tournament. And we talked about that when she joined the show during the World Series last year. She also talked about her alma mater, Oklahoma State, as well as today's guest. I got to talk to him leading into this season. So let's head into the interview. He's the Oklahoma State head coach, leader of the 3-time NFCA Regional Coaching Staff of the Year and 2022 Big 12 Tournament champions, and baseball alum and national champion at Oklahoma, Kenny Gajewski. Coach G, super excited to have you on the show.
I appreciate you having me.
Is it wild to think about that you've been in Stillwater for about a decade now? Does it feel like that?
It's kind of interesting. This time of year we start doing a lot of these type of things and people bring it up. So it starts taking you down memory lane some, which I don't want to do too much, but, yes and no. Like I can tell you this, it doesn't, like, I still love coming to work here. Like, I walk in the front door and get goosebumps, and I walk into this facility. It's not new, but it's kept up, and it's helped us do a lot of stuff. And I still love to be where I'm at. So for that, it's gone fast. But I think we've had enough moments and created so many memories up to this point that it feels good. And it feels like we've been here for a good amount of time. And so that stuff, I don't know if that is kind of a weird way to put that, but I feel both sides of the emotion without a doubt.
Yeah, which makes total sense. And I feel like when I think of you and the impact you've had in softball, I think of just relationships that you've built too. And I went to my first ever Clearwater tournament last season. Obviously, half of it was rained out. Did get to see you all play, but not as much as we would have liked, of course. But the fact that you and Tim Walton, former teammates, obviously now coaching against each other, used to coach together, but you were able to set up an impromptu top 10 matchup at Florida during the rainout, I think speaks volumes to just our softball community.
Yeah, I mean, this game is wild. It's just, it gets in your blood. And, I use the word a lot, junkie. Like, I'm a softball junkie. My staff is, we all are. My family is. We can't get enough. My daughter, who's 14, I'll check her phone and, look at her YouTube stuff, and it's littered with softball stuff. And I'm just like, how cool is this? And she's watching old games and different things. And I think Coach Shippey does that with her young son. Like, he's watching old games, even of her playing. We just love it. And, if you're not having fun, you don't have good relationships in this, we're probably doing the wrong thing. And for Tim and I know that everybody, it was kind of weird, to me, how everybody thought it was such a big deal that we were able to get that game going. And it was a 30-second phone call. Said, hey man, we're rained out. We're right here. Do you want to play? He said, hold on, let me call you back. And I was like, I honestly didn't think he was going to do it, because we both hate to play on Mondays after a day off, or on a Tuesday after a Monday day off. So we both were off. So I kind of said, hey, I know you hate to play. You've been off. We've been off. But look, it's equal. We've both been off. So let's if you can make it happen, we'll do our part. And he's obviously the one that made it happen. I'm the one who brought it up, and we love each other, and if we can get together and play, we don't enjoy playing each other. I think, in a weird way, we love it for the competition, but someone's got to lose. And that part of it, we both don't like.
Which is fair. I think the results went your way this time when you guys were able to set that up, which I'm sure you appreciated, at least for that instance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he got us in OKC, so he got us when it counted. So that was frustrating, but they're really good. And obviously he's taught me a lot, and I wouldn't be in this spot if it wasn't for T-Dub and everything that he gave me an opportunity to do. And I really had no intention actually of ever leaving him, to be honest. Like I thought to myself, what a perfect deal. I can sit right here and have the best assistant coach job in America and got the greatest coach. And I can just sit over here and just be his buddy, and then things started to happen in a positive way for jobs that were happening. And this just seemed like one I probably should really think about.
Yeah, of course. Well, and it sounds like, looks like you made the right decision.
It's been
But
fun.
that's something that I appreciate just as a former player too. There's nothing quite like the teammate relationship. Like the fact that you guys were teammates, even playing baseball together, and not even just at Oklahoma when you won the national championship, but in JUCO before that.
Yeah.
And that relationship has lasted over time. To me, that's really a great representation of what it means to be a teammate, because it's not the same as just a friend, right? There's a little bit more to that relationship when you're in the trenches together like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really deep, and it was. I mean, you talk about 3 years that flew by. They flew by, and now I have one of my other best friends, Greg Bergeron, here, and we all played. Me, him, and Tim all played in junior college together, and there's just something about that. It creates some different challenges. But it's okay. Like it's part of what life is. And you want to be around people that think like you, that have different ideas and that aren't afraid to bring them up. Like I need people around me who can think on their own feet and aren't going to tell me yes all the time. And that's what I tried to be for Tim, even though he would do what he was going to do. The feedback, for all of us is important because it makes us think, okay, well, am I doing the right thing? And taking that step back is always very helpful. And I'm spoiled in another way here. I've got my other two coaches are former players, and they're just like teammates to me. I mean, I don't look at them like as former players. I look at them as teammates, and my office is littered with former student athletes here that we coached here, and now they're part of our staff, and it makes it a lot of fun.
That's probably one of the most rewarding parts, I would imagine.
I think it's why you get into coaching. I don't think it's for anything else. If you're getting into coaching for money and things that don't matter in the long run, I think you're going to be short-lived, and people are going to see right through you. And they'll eventually, these kids are smart. And so there's a real investment. There's a real pull from your own family. So you got to have a family that's willing to be on that ride with you, that understands that. I miss more of my daughter's and my son's game than anyone. So when I can go, I try to go, and I do the same thing for our staff here. I want them to be at those games. Coach Bergeron has a senior in high school in California. His family's there for this year because they didn't want to uproot his son, and I understand that. So we're going to try to get him home as often as we can to watch him play. Those are the things that matter to all of us. So that's the way we're gonna live here. That's the way we've been successful here, and there's no reason to change that.
Well, I love to hear that, and I like to hear that with the staff too, because we obviously focus on the players a ton, as we should. It's about them, but just the team within the team, that is the staff, and how you all work together. Obviously, it sets the tone in a lot of ways, right? So I always appreciate hearing how staffs try to make it work as best as possible with each other.
Well, we got families, and we're coaches, we're parents, we're spouses, mentors for others outside of our game. Whatever it is, I have mentors that I need to be talking to, and to get out of my own way at times. And so we all have that. We all need it. It's very healthy, and it's the way it's supposed to be. It's the way it always was. And then all of a sudden we start making more money, and we start getting fired for not winning enough games. And it can very easily change your outlook on things. And I think people that just stay true to who they are and who they want to be can last and can weather the storms and that kind of stuff. And it's hard though. It takes courage.
But in a way, it's kind of nice to see that too, because you preach those types of concepts and values to your players, right? And to be living them, I think, is important as well for them to see.
I mean, we are the example we're supposed to be the example. We're supposed to be, in a way we're like parents away from home. And I think that's important. So I feel like the people in here live that lifestyle. They probably do it better than I do, to be very honest. And I'm very proud of that I've been able to, or hopefully that we've been able to be good examples of what it's like. And we're very vulnerable here. So when things get off the rocker, to be able to share that with our kids, say this is real life. Like this is today I'm not here, and here's why. I mean, life sucks at times, right? And but the good really outweighs the suck. But it's gonna suck for you. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care what you do. It's just part of it. And so giving these kids real life stuff. My little 11-month-old was just here, and he's in here, and I had a guy in here that was telling me about something, and he's over here grunting and screaming and doing all this stuff, and I'm just like, it's just what it is here, you know what I mean? And so it's like romper room at times, and it's okay. Like it's okay. It's real life stuff, and I think sometimes we think our jobs are a little bit more important than what they are, and it's good just to have some perspective.
Who are some of the mentors that you talk with for your own help?
Oh, I mean, probably the number one guy that I talk to, and I talk to a lot, is a guy named Bill Mosiello. He's the associate head coach at TCU on their baseball team. He's been a guy for me that I've just talked to a lot about stuff and bounce things off. And him. I've got a guy named Brett Ledbetter that I talk to occasionally, not as much here in the last year, but really helped me get some good foundational things done. We use a company called The Program, and our instructor is a guy named Omri. Omri's actually coming in here this evening. Comes in about 4 or 5 times each year, and just kind of really, I think our girls think he comes in for them, you know what I mean? But what they probably don't understand is he's as much for me and my staff as our team. Carrie Eberle's dad is somebody that I speak with a lot on the business side. Our job is really, maybe a little bit more CEO-ish in my spot. And that's why I've tried to hire the best coaches that are better than me so they can do that. And I can be looking ahead and thinking ahead. And he's a guy that I put a lot into, and he puts a lot in me that is really healthy. So I have multiple people. It depends on what it's about, but I've just created some great friends and relationships through time. And I talked to a buddy of mine who's an AD at OU just last night for about an hour and a half about what's going on and what's out there. And, just perspective. I want perspective. I want to know what others are thinking. And there's no way that you can evolve if you're not kind of outside your own box.
I love all the different places that they're coming from too. Baseball, softball, maybe outside of the sport, totally separate from all of it, like getting those different perspectives, like you're saying. And I always love to hear why people like yourself, who come from baseball, of course, went with softball. There's so much investment that you put into it. You've laid it all out, relationships, time, right, the mental part of it, all of it. What made you be like, yes, I want to be a part of this softball community?
It's interesting. I got to watch, it goes back even farther than Tim. When I was at OU, I used to for a couple of years, I traveled around with Coach Gasso, She would take me on a couple of trips. She liked having me around, I guess, because she invited me. And I used to watch their practices a lot. I was just in amazement of the way she could coach them and how detailed it was. It reminded me of Coach Mo that I told you about, that I go back to, and how Coach Berge and I, how we were raised in our junior college, and Coach Walton as well. Coach Mo coached all of us at our junior college, along with a guy named Dave Serrano as well. He's a guy I talk to occasionally as well. So it reminded me a lot of the attention to detail. And then when Tim got involved in the softball, I was even paying more attention. I was a pretty arrogant thinker. I used to think that I had tremendous respect for how women played, but I thought that there was all this drama and all this stuff. And so I was like, I would never coach that, but I love watching it. And now I'm like, what an idiot you are to think like that. And I think drama is what you let people get away with, right? And so how arrogant to think like that. But I got smarter being around it, and I got an opportunity, and and went. So and once you're in it, you would never go back to baseball. There is zero reason you would ever go back to that boring game. I can barely watch my son's games. I mean, they're just it's like watching paint dry. Now I love the process of it, and I love the skill, and I love the planning and all that kind of stuff, but it's like forever. Like we could play 2 games and they're 1 game, right? And and our game is so fast. So I love all that. It's what keeps me around, and I just can't get enough. I mean, I could watch it all day. I wish it was on all year round.
Oh, I agree with you on that one too. And also, by the way, it doesn't hurt that the staff when you went to Florida was unbelievable. You, Tim, and Jen Rocha went, and then it's like no wonder you all won a national championship.
It's
and then back-to-back years. Yeah.
I was just talking to my buddy at OU last night, and I said, it's kind of crazy. I said, I mean, I'm not trying to talk about polls and rankings, but it's kind of interesting to look at Tim at the top, and then you look at Patty's at 3 in most of those polls, and we know what they're all about. And then we're sitting behind them right up there in the top 5. And like, we all have these, Jen, Tim, myself, Patty, we're all from the West Coast Junior College. That's where we're all from.
Yeah.
And it's our foundational piece. And it's kind of interesting that we all really fall out of Patty's tree, whether she wants to admit that or not. We do. And probably Tim and Jen more, but I do fall out of that. I've never worked for her as a coach, but I've worked for her in other roles, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for what she's done, and the amount of the longevity at which she's done it, and kind of reinvented herself halfway through, and or reinvented that program. It's wild. So I just look at all that, and there's a lot of I think negative things that are said, about the competitiveness that we have towards each other, but like, it's respect, it's ultimate respect. And I have it for Jen. I have it for Tim. I know Berge feels the same way, and my staff does. I mean, we relish the opportunities to compete against them. Yeah.
It's hard not to respect what you each have built respectively. And I do feel like I still can't believe it's going to be a decade here for you. But, it started off, I think the year before you went to Oklahoma State, they were 3-13 in the Big 12. And then you guys now have gone to 5 straight World Series and then 8 straight NCAA tournaments. How do you find the building blocks to put that in place? It doesn't just happen overnight.
I was lucky to start with. I had Coach Shippy here on our team that was going to be a sophomore. And we got a couple good kids in to transfer in, and kind of help that first team. And I think those kids at the time, they're not kids anymore. They're women, married, having kids, and successful lives. So it's really kind of neat. But like it starts with players. It starts with, the two most important thing are good players and an administration that is behind you. And we pushed the envelope here early on. I mean, they knew where I was coming from, and I wasn't going to take no for answers. And I got told no a lot, but I worked for a guy in Mike Holder who should be in that mentor block too. I should have mentioned him. When I'm not feeling good, I can go call him and go walk the golf course for an hour and a half, and he can set me right quickly. So he told me no a lot, but I would come back to him with a better way or a better answer, and that's what he was trying to do, not to always tell me yes at the start. He knew he needed to tell me yes, but he knew also I needed to come up with a better way, or I wasn't thinking big enough. And so he forced me to learn and to think and to work through things. And so, you go through these processes, and it's just we're lucky to be where we're doing. I forget what you even asked me. I kind of got off on this tangent. What did you ask me?
No, it was just around the building blocks of, of what you've done.
It's what it is. It's people. I mean, it's in the end. I mean, this is about sales, and it's about people, and it's not just making a sale. It's following through on what you told them that you were going to do if they bought. And I think so many people and coaches were guilty of this. We're guilty of this as a deal. We make a sale and we're done. And the sale is just the start. The sale is just the start of the relationship. You go buy a car, and if you don't buy it from somebody who's going to service you, then it wasn't a good buy. So our staff's job is to continue the service. And that doesn't, like, we tell our kids here, this is not a 4-year thing. If you transfer in Sam Chow for 1 year, this is not a 1-year thing. This is a forever thing. I just sent Sam Chow and her dad a box of shirts and hats because they wear them, and they still cheer for this program like nobody else. And that's what we would do for anyone here. This is a forever thing, and through the good and bad. And so I think that's how we built it. I wish I had a script that I could say, hey, buy my book, and this will tell you how to make it happen. I'm not smart enough to do any of that stuff, but it's still about hiring good people, being willing to make hard decisions for what's right for your program and your team. That part's not fun. It's not easy. But it's just what's best for our kids here and the future kids. That's how we built this up, and that's the way we'll continue to go.
I'm so glad you mentioned Sam Chow, because she's a great example of what I wanted to ask you about, because I feel like you all and what you've done at Oklahoma State, there's this culture where transfers can really thrive. And that's Sam, that's, you said Carrie Eberly, who's on staff, that's Lexi Kilfoyle, right? Who just finished up her career in college. I think all of those people I just mentioned, by the way, got their first All-American honors after coming to Oklahoma State. And not that it's all about that result, but just as an example of, a tangible piece of evidence of them feeling like they could thrive.
Yeah. Well, there's more there, and there's more. You've got Rachel Becker, and you've got Haley Busby. I mean, I could go down the line of these kids that have been All-Americans here that were never All-Americans, that have had their best years here. And there's just something about this place that's unique to us. Everybody's got their things that are great about their school. We've had a hard time of attracting young kids. We don't have a lot of, we don't have a Lulu on the corner, and we don't have this huge shopping mall and this awesome theater and all this stuff. We have softball, and we have school, and we have nightlife that's, for a college kid, is awesome. Or if it's not nightlife, it's just whatever it is that you want to do, you can do it here. and you have a coaching staff that wants you to have the away from the field here. I want that to be memorable. I want you to be who you want to be. It just needs to be respectful to yourself and your program and OSU. And so I want these people to feel that and to love that. And when you're young, you fall in love with the logo. You fall in love with things that you think are important. And then once you get there, you show up and go, ugh, that is it. It is cool. The football games, 100,000 fans, that's awesome. Unfortunately, you only get 6 of those a year. Like, it's not like it's an everyday thing. Our football games are just as cool. Maybe not this year, but every other year since. They've been just as cool. The tailgating, the life outside of the stadium, it's unbelievable. But it's not as shiny and it's not as attractive at times. So instead of us beating our head up against a wall, let's go find kids that is attractive to. And those young kids, we're still going to recruit them so that if something falls apart at their other place, that they fell in love for the wrong things, I'm okay. I mean, I'm good. As long as, we respect what you're doing and how, then we'll probably still be interested again. Right. And that's how we've had to make a living here. And there's no shame in that. I don't feel any shame. I think sometimes people outside, I hear the people that want to be the detractors are like, yeah, well, they have to get other people's kids. I'm like, I didn't go call them. Those kids are calling me. There's very few of these kids that they called us because they see what's going on and they think they want to be a part of that. So it's kind of how we've gone about it. It's worked for us. It's part of a new way to recruit. Not going to make any apologies. We're going to do what works best for Oklahoma State. If I'm at another school, it may not be the right thing, but I'm here. I love it here. And so why not figure out what works best for us?
And it's possible for them, maybe they're a better fit once they've kind of gone through some experience, reprioritized or rethought where they're at, where they want to be. And then that is the moment where, okay, you know what? They've gone through that. They are a better fit now than they would have been had they been initially just right out of high school, come in and been a part of the program. Like, everybody has their journey.
I agree. And everybody gets smarter as they go on, right? I mean, you get smarter by experiences and making good and bad decisions. And we're all going to make them, both of them. I mean, it's coming. So, and I think we're better equipped at 20 than we were at 16 to figure out what it is that we want. So I'm just going to keep plugging away with our staff. We're just going to keep doing what we do. I mean, when we don't get young kids, we're pissed off. But at the end, after some time to kind of just go through the processes, you go, hey, we're going to get who we're supposed to get. And if they don't want to be here, why do we want them here so bad, right? And that's a big deal. So let's focus on those kids that really want to be here and have shown us that and have some edge and have some stuff, because this is a program where we're not going to shove you in a box.
Yeah.
You can be Sam Chow if you want to be Sam Chow. You can be Elish if you want to be Elish. You can be Lexi Kilfoyle and be the best in the country and show no emotion shit at all. Like, I don't care. Like, I want you to be the best you, whatever that is. Ivy Rosenberry is the greatest example. I mean, this is a kid who just was floundering in softball, and Carrie got her locked in, and all of a sudden she's a fist pumper like Shao and screaming and all that stuff. And I'm like, I would turn to Carrie and go, who is this? And I love it. Like, this is legit. And it's amazing. You think you know kids, and you don't really know what's inside of them until they're unlocked and the handcuffs are off and they can just be who they want to be. When they feel that power, that's why you coach.
And you do a lot off the field. Like you're saying, it's not just what's on the field. Like one of the things I read about that this is making me think of is more of the mental game. You know, you guys will go to Broken Bow in the off season, and then before the NCAA tournament, this is one of the things that I thought was really cool. In between the Big 12 tournament and before the NCAA tournament, and then all of a sudden, when that's a grind of a portion of the season, I think the last 4 years you all are 20-1 in regionals and supers after doing that type of trip. But why is that piece of the program important?
I don't know. I think we all need to, we get it, like we get in this bubble and we think we're the only thing that's going on. And, you know, everybody's talking about that time of year, talking about you and how good you are. And wow, look at all this stuff. And my thing is like for that team, it's at the end. Like we're at the end of the journey. And so why not go to Brokimbo? I can think of 1,000 reasons why people would say, why would you? And I'm the other way. I want to think the other way. Like, why wouldn't you? Right? Like, why wouldn't you go put that team in their own cabin and let them hang out and blow off some steam and get refocused and talk about, you know, when you get together with your teammates, it's like the conversations and how they just organically happen are the greatest of all time. Like you can't make it up. You know what I mean? They just go crazy ways and everybody starts laughing or crying or whatever it is. And we're all just like having fun and the coaches need it too. And and to get away from all the noise and just go relax. Like we're at the end. Like we haven't forgot. We're not going to forget how to play softball in 2.5 days. And we take our bats. We go hit at the local high school. We just keep them sharp and that kind of stuff. But like, it's very easy. I mean, we just go eat good and hang out and chill and talk about all the regionals and who got screwed and who didn't and why is our regionals so hard and how are we matched up? And no way that they didn't set up us against Tim. There's no way that had to happen. They had to be thinking about that. All this stuff, you know, that we turn into the same armchair quarterbacks as everybody else. And then when we get in those vehicles and drive back, it's really cool because it's the refocus part of it that we need to have to get ourselves ready to do what we want to do. And so, so far, it's worked out well. And I love it. I love it. I love what it does. I love the memories it's created for all these guys and what they're going to have for a lifetime.
Well, to me, these are the types of things that make it more of a lifetime thing. Like you said, when you come through Oklahoma State, to you, it's not just the years that you're here. It's really forever. And it prepares you for life to understand like, okay, here's a moment in my life where I need to take a step back. That's going to be more productive than if I just keep like bulldozing forward. Oh yeah, like how we used to go to Broken Bow, you know, like something for them to reference back to, I feel like prepares them for life more than, you know, if you're only about between the lines.
Yeah. I think people don't understand. It's hard to understand how little softball we really do. I think they think it's all we do. And, you know, like I tell people all the time, we get these kids for 20 hours a week max. And they're like, what? I'm like, it's like 4 hours a day max. You know what I mean? Like now on game days, obviously a little bit longer, but like we're not around them as much as you think. And so there becomes this, like they're around my strength coach Chance, like, and that's why he's so important. They're around our trainer, Mike, why he's so important. They're around Katie Norris, our director of ops, Cheyenne Factor, former athlete here, who's our player development. Like they're around all of us, but like I need people around here that are on Team OSU and are preaching the message that we're preaching, and that kids can go to and say, why is Coach G why is he off his rocker today? Like, what's the deal with him? He's lost his mind. And she can say, this just trust, there's a reason for all this stuff, and they've done it for a long time, and doesn't mean it's always right, but they have a reason, they have a method for the madness, right? And
Mm.
we don't play games. If you don't like where you stand, walk right in my door that's open, unless I'm on a Zoom call with you. My door is open, and come right in here and talk it out. Like, this is how you get things in life. You have to communicate. And
Yeah.
so once you start empowering these guys to not agree with you, to tell them it's okay to not agree, but this is what you've earned, and this is where it is. So
Yep.
here's what you got to do to change that. And so I just think that's how we've done it here. It's weird in a lot of ways, but it works for us, and it's what it is.
I think it helps get players and people ready for the next level too. I mean, 13 players, I think, drafted professionally since 2021. Something's working, right, in terms of being able to help them get there after they leave Stillwater.
Yeah, I mean, I think kids get better here, so I don't really have to talk about that. You brought up that these kids were all Americans for the first time. Um, I just look at that and go, I don't probably have to say a lot more than that. And I think when you start bragging and telling everybody how good you think you are, you're probably not.
Mm.
So let's let the stuff talk, and let's let people see. I tell people all the time, parents, recruits, I'm not going to tell you that our culture is good. If you can't see that, it doesn't resonate with you, it's okay. It's not the right place. And I hate the word culture because I think it gets overblown, and I hate the word family because people just say, well, we're a family. Okay, well, show me. Like, what does that look like, right? And so if you want to see what that's like, then you need to invest time to come to OSU and see what that's like. It's not me just telling you, because that's just doesn't make sense. So you just got to kind of see how we do our stuff. And if you can help us, like if you can help us win and do all that kind of stuff, like I'm all in. Like sign me up. I want to evolve. I want to get better. And so that's kind of the way we've gone about it here.
Well, and there are different types of families, right? There are a lot of dysfunctional families. So just to say you're a family, it's, there's a lot more to it than that anyway. And I appreciate kind of the actions versus the words, like that's more what resonates with me as well. And I've appreciated that about your program.
Thank you. Yeah, it's I don't know. We try not to. That's probably why we're not in the spotlight more, because we're not out bragging about ourselves and doing that. That's not what we're gonna do. We want to just be a good example for our school, our sport, our families. That's the people that we're gonna have for a long time. That's really at the end of the day. It's really all you got, anyways. It doesn't matter how much money you got. Nobody cares at the end.
Well, that's partly what I'm here for. I can help brag on the program a little bit.
We got Serge. Serge does a good job too. At times he does way too much. I'm like, hey, you probably don't need to put that out, okay? Like, we don't need anybody reading that stuff. Like, get that out of here. It's poison. Like Nick Saban says, it's all rap poison.
Yeah, but shout out to Serge.
Serge is awesome.
Yes,
he's the best.
He helped make this happen too. SIDs in general, unsung heroes too. Part of the program that are important. Yeah,
hard work.
I'm almost not afraid to ask you this question, but I'm making it sound way more dramatic than it is. But given the fact that obviously you won a national championship as a baseball player at Oklahoma, you worked at Oklahoma for 10 plus years, but obviously you've built what you've built the last decade at Oklahoma State. Do you feel like, what runs through your veins? Is it more orange or is it more crimson in your blood? Like where do you feel like you sit now at this point in your life?
Well, where I sit now, it's like America's brightest orange. Like
Yeah.
it's not even a thought. Look, like I had some of the most amazing years of my life at OU. I I can't change that. I don't want to change that. Um, when I got hired here, Coach Holder told me you don't need to change that. You should be proud of that. And so I've that's how I've lived.
Yep.
Now it's become very hard, just so you know. Like and I may make it hard on myself too, because I'm not afraid to. I'm not first off, I'm not afraid of them, even though they've kicked our ass. Like I'm not afraid of that. We keep going right at them, and I'm not afraid of that. So I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna you know I'm just not afraid to tell you how I feel,
Mm.
whether you like that or not. It's never comes from a place of hatred or disrespect. It's actually the other way, 1,000%. It's respect, and there's a lot of people out there that want me to hate them. There's a lot of those guys that do hate me, and that's okay. I'm good with that. I'm probably the luckiest guy around. I've experienced both of these schools here in tremendous ways. And I consider myself very lucky and fortunate, and they've helped me create a lot of who I am. So I would not, I would be doing a disservice if I didn't say that, but Oklahoma State is where I'm at, and it fits me very well. And I'm very proud to call this place home. And I'm very proud to tell you that I played at OU and worked there and had some of the best memories of my life. But I didn't want to just make memories from age 30 to 40, or when I played there and then worked there. Like I want to make memories my whole life. And Oklahoma State hired me
Yep.
and took a chance on me. I was never a head coach, um, and so I'm very grateful and indebted to Oklahoma State in so many ways, and that's why I try to be the best cowboy I can be, and that's why I told Coach Holder when he hired me. He said, I can only really find one thing about you that I really don't like, and I was like, what did he find? I started going through my mind, like, what could he have found? Like, there, and I'm not the perfect kid, or I've made my share of really dumb moves. And so I was like, what did he find? And he said, you're a Sooner. And I said, well, then why did you bring me here? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And he just kind of laughed, and he goes, hey, the reason I said that is I don't want you to think you can't talk about that. And I don't want you to ever think you shouldn't be proud of that. You should be really proud of that. And so it put me at ease. It put me at ease on how I could go about this here. And I love it here. This place is, I think it's paradise. I mean, like, I don't want the rat race. I love this. Now, if you're maybe if you're single and you're trying to find a spouse, it could be hard here. But if you're going to school here, there is nothing better than this place here. There's lots of great schools. I'm not saying it's the best. I'm just saying there is not a better place. We're in that group. And then if you're married and have young kids, there is not a better place to raise a family. And most importantly, that's what you got to hang on to forever.
Yeah.
And so, this place it's unique. It's steady. It's great people, and they love our place. They love our team. And it's wild. So I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I got to go to OU. I'm lucky that I worked there. I'm lucky that one of my mentors that I was, as I was doing my ground stuff was Coach Stoops at OU, the old football coach. He was teaching me how to be a head coach back when I was taking care of all those fields. I didn't even know it. But what I can look back and go, that guy was showing me every day. Like, he was giving me examples that I could go back to and go, this is how you treat people. And this is how you get people to rally around you. And you do it by knowing their names, by saying hello which is a very lost art. And the guy was special and still is. I saw him about a month back and started talking to him like it was old times. And I was like, it was kind of weird because I know he's going, hey, I'm behind Patty. Okay. And I'm like, it's all good. You know what I mean? It's kind of fun. So anyways, my experiences there are great. And I can't change that. Don't want to change that.
Yeah. I mean, I like the concept basically that Coach Holder gave to you, which is, it's part of your path, right? But and then he put you at ease with that right away. But the other thing too is I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up because it's related to some things that I studied in college. I remember reading as well that Coach Holder, when you also first started interviewing with them, put you at ease in a few different ways around, and I know you're very vocal about talking about the fact that you stutter.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, I Bleav that Coach Holder was just right away like, hey, I heard that you do that. And you're like, yep. And that was it. Right. And you got to move on. But not only that, I was a TA for public speaking at Stanford when I was going there. And I appreciate that. I also saw that you've been involved in Oklahoma State's grad program with speech pathology and support groups. And you said, I think I saw a quote where you're like, I just hope I can help. And so on just a personal level, from my own experiences working with people, I just appreciate that you do that. And I appreciate Coach Holder too for his support of you.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it makes me kind of emotional now. I mean, it's who I am. I can't change it. It was my biggest fear of being a head coach, just so you know, my biggest fear was that I stutter and how am I going to be talking to Michelle Smith and Holly Rowe in the middle of a game, and you stutter and you're, the things that go through your mind. But it just is like, hey, I think you're meant to be in the spot and you just need to tough it out and you just need to grind through it. And I was flying on a plane just last night. I was on a quick recruiting trip. And there was a movie on there that a good mentor of mine had sent me and said, hey, you need to watch this. And she said, it's going to make you cry. But it's called My Beautiful Stutter. And it's on American Airlines. It's on one of their deals, but you can look it up. It's a camp called Camp Say. And it's about these kids who stutter and they go to this camp and it just kind of helps them understand who you are. And it kind of brings you to this acceptance of who you are. It's not going away. And so I watched this thing twice. I watched it on the way out and I watched it on the way back. Both times I cried my eyes out. I was trying to hide tears, and the guy that's next to me that's infringing upon my space that I was irritated about. And I reached out to those guys and said, hey, if I can help, I would be happy to help. And if I can't, that's fine. That's fine too. But I really think that's probably one of my biggest, I think that's why I got this job, is to be out front, to let people, young kids, it's really a young kid thing. And it turns into an adult thing, because you either got to accept it and deal with who you are and how you were made, or you fight it and you start living a very lonely life. And so I've just chosen to be on the other side, and my glass is half full, and I stutter and I hate it. I wish I didn't. And I hate introducing my own self. I hate to go up to somebody and say, hey, I'm Kenny Gajewski, because it sounds like I have to pause to tell you my last name. You may not even hear it, but I do. I feel it. And, pressure is not coaching. Pressure is doing an in-game interview. Yeah. That's my pressure. And I wish they would do it in the first so I could get it over with.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, I'll never tell them no. And I've never said no to one interview. I've never said no to one speaking thing. And you can only understand what goes through my chest if you stutter. You have no clue. And so I feel for people. And so it just gives you, again, it gives you perspective. And I think it's also why I'm supposed to be coaching. You're influencing young people, right? And we all have some sort of deficiency. Mine could be a lot worse. Could be a lot worse. And so I appreciate you bringing it up, because it's good to talk about. It's good for people to hear that. It's good for us to, in a world that's gotten so crazy and so not very compassionate. I think we all need to do a little better job. So, hey, it's who I am, and I'm good.
Well, I appreciate that you just talk about it and that
Yeah.
you do try to help as much as you can. Because even when I was doing work with public speakers, it's the number one fear for everyone is public speaking. It's
Yeah.
not, spiders or snakes or whatever. It's public speaking. That's
Yeah.
what people are afraid of the most. And so there's people I worked with that, English was their second language. So they had some maybe self-conscious moments in regards to that or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that translates to so many different things. So I just really appreciate that you are so open about it.
Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that. I get to be a mentor for some people outside of us too that reach out. You'd be amazed. I think people would be amazed if they saw my inbox on who emails me.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that I don't need to go into names, but I get a lot of really, really cool emails that people would like me to speak with somebody if I'm willing to, or I've got some people in the athletic world that have a really hard time that I try to talk to. And I've got one guy I need to get back to. And it's really interesting. And it's rewarding. It's powerful. And it kind of takes my mind off coaching too. You know what I mean? And it's a different way of coaching and talking, and just being there for somebody is really kind of neat.
Yeah. Well, it's really cool that you do that and what you're doing on and off the field. I appreciate it all. And I appreciate you taking the time. Before I let you go, I do play a quick game with everybody who comes on the show.
Okay.
It's called Safe or Out.
Okay.
So if you like it or agree with whatever topic I bring up, then you call it safe. If don't, then you call it out. So you're the umpire.
All right.
Okay. So first one is conference realignment. Safe or out?
Out.
You can elaborate too if you want to.
Well, I hate it. I don't like the fact that we're losing some natural rivalries, that we're now having to travel a lot farther. It's costing more money. So if you can convince me that it's the best thing, then I'm safe. But I'm not totally convinced yet, so I'm out.
I think that's fair. It's still new too, right? And for softball in particular, we're about to see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right, that was the first one. Second one is we touched on this already, but just for the record, transfer portal, safe or out?
Safe.
Yeah.
I'm totally safe. I'm safe because I think we're forcing kids to make decisions too early, which is, we're part of the problem. So, on that, so we gotta, I'm okay with that. I do not like multiple transfers. So, and I'm so glad we don't have mid-season transfer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with that. All right. The last one, and I've been really looking forward to asking you this. Bat flips, safe or out?
Totally safe. Come on. Like, I think there's some kids that should bat flip and there's some kids that shouldn't. But I'm safe on it. Hey, I want you to express yourself the way you think you need to express yourself. You better have thick enough skin to understand what's coming.
Yeah.
When you do. And so again, if that's the way you're supposed to play to be your best you, bat flip.
Yeah.
If it's not, don't. You know what I mean? So I think there's nothing wrong. I don't agree with people that say that women shouldn't do that. Women aren't as tough. They're actually tougher than men. They're actually their emotion is legit. And so why not show that? You know, I don't know. You know, I used to really subscribe to women have to feel good to play good, and guys have to play good to feel good.
Yeah.
I think that's changing. I
Yeah.
think that's, and maybe it's never changed. Maybe that's always what it's always been. But people have conditioned women for a long time to don't show your emotions, and that's not how. Hey, you're supposed to be who you are. And
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a guy, girl, black, white, gay, straight, whatever you are, be that and do it and own it and understand why you do things. You know what I mean? If you're going to take a side on the political spectrum, take it, but understand why and understand it. Don't just do it to do it. Understand why you're doing it and be educated and all that. And, you know, all that stuff's, it can happen. So, yeah, I'm safe on the bat flip.
I mean, you know, Sam Shao kind of made this the hot topic a few years back now. So I think I knew what your answer was going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just appreciate hearing the thought process behind it too, because I even have seen when you've been doing in-game interviews, let's say some of your players in the background are dancing or having a good time or just doing whatever, you know, that makes them feel engaged in the game or whatever it is. And there's a lot of personality with Oklahoma State, and I appreciate that too.
Well, we appreciate that. And we want it to be respectful. But we're here to have fun. That's what we signed up for, to have the best time of our life. I'm just the luckiest one because I get to do it every year. They only get 4 years. I get to do it every year. So I know they think they're pretty lucky, but I think I'm the luckiest one. I get to do it every dang year. It's pretty cool.
That is a really cool way to think of it too. Perspective to have. Well, thank you again, Coach. This was awesome. I knew it would be, but I'm glad that we were actually able to do it. And I'm excited to watch you all the whole season this year.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
I wanted to have Kenny on the show for a while, and I'm really glad that we did. Because while he's talking, while we're having this conversation, I can't help but think of alums who are products of the program. Like Lexi Kilfoyle and her journey to becoming the first ever #1 pick in the AUSL draft. You just kind of get a glimpse into the role that Oklahoma State and he played in that journey. I actually got to talk to her about it in the press conference after the draft, and she gave both a lot of credit. So I'm sure baseball misses him, but we're glad to have him on the softball side. So with that, let's bring it home. You've been listening to Bleav in Softball, part of Bleav Network and presented by BetOnline. The show is available anywhere you get your podcasts, wherever you listen, including Bleav.com and YouTube too. Subscribe to the show, rate the show. If you liked it, write a review. Follow us on X and Instagram at Bleav in Softball. That's BLEAV. You can reach out to me personally on X at Jenna Becerra01 and Instagram at Jenna Becerra as well. As always, thank you for tuning in and catch you soon.